Professor Franconi, previously we talked about some of the specific problems, conceptual problems with this in terms of the limitations of language, of English language or German, French, any naturally conceived language. There are limitations that also help, or I guess prevent agreement or that utility. What are some of those limitations and what are some of the solutions, conceptual solutions to the limitations of human language or even formal logic as well?
I would not say that natural language is limited. Actually, I would say that the natural language is too powerful. Indeed, I can say whatever kind of concept as abstract as it could be in natural language and explain it to you. So the problem is exactly this one. If you want to translate a communication, a movement of information from one agent to another one, from an agent to the centralized system, we need to be sure that we understand each other and in the context of concepts which are known. So when we communicate, say as human in natural language, for example, we need to know two things. We need to speak the same language, both English speaker, for example, but also we need to have the same conceptualization of the word. So you have to not only to understand English, but you have to understand the meaning of words. When I say elephant, I need you to be sure that you know what an elephant means. Maybe if you are a child that never left your village in Northern Carolina, then maybe you've never seen an elephant. You don't even know what an elephant is. So it's not only a problem of knowing English, it's having concepts associated to words. If you put an agent, which is a computer, in this game, of course, I may try to teach the computer the grammar, the English language. It's very hard because there are so many variations. But the heartbeat is to be sure that the computer, the agent, understands the concepts. For example, this is the major limitation of language models in AI based on deep neural networks nowadays, like GPT-3 and stuff. So they circumvent the problem of the complexity of the syntax, of the fact that language can be seen as any concept can be expressed in many different ways, and it's very hard to enumerate all of them. So what GPT-3 does, and all these natural language models based on deep learning AI, they would just digest all the possible sentences ever uttered on the internet. Statistically, they basically get an idea on how the language is built. But the major limitation, which is a center of very interesting debate in AI with Gary Marcus and stuff, is what a computer understands about the concepts which are embedded in the words. So you can connect words in apparently meaningful sentences because they resonate well to our cognition, but the agent would never understand exactly the content. So that's why when we deal with natural language, we have to focus on meaningful fragments of it. We will never allow complete natural language freely spoken because we want to be certain that we understand 100% of what any agent, any of the million agents is going to say. So this means that the computer eventually, say the software that controls Tao, this communication, which is also generated by discussion in Tao, we have to be sure that the definition, the meaning of all the concepts and the words is present in the main agent itself. So this means that maybe at the beginning, Tao will be very stupid, will understand very few concepts, and the conversation among agents will teach the computer more concepts, but in the real sense. So definitions, what is an elephant? Well, it's an animal that lives in some countries, it's gray, has a trunk, whatever. And then, of course, we'll have some notion about the object, the concepts that people may want to talk about. In this way, we have limited the focus in communication to what is called normally in search and application in computer science, controlled natural language. So we limit the syntax to be usable enough by everybody. So we cannot speak freely. It's just like me as a foreigner, not as a native English speaker, I would speak English. So subject, verb, object, very simple sentences. Not so simple, but again, somehow a language is sort of this international English that everybody would understand and would be able to use. Plus the fact that we understand all the words, all the concepts that are embedded in this natural language. Somehow, unlike we were saying, is limitation of the natural language that is unlimited, and we want to limit